Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Fly the W. There it is, an opening day shutout win over the Milwaukee Brewers. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Del Mendo, tip of the cap to everybody in the chat that's been waiting for us. Very exciting, almost a perfect opening day scenario at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs on their way to 162-0.
On their way. They're on pace, Luke. I manifested it at the pregame show. I said it's a good day to go 1-0 and be on pace for 162 wins. What a game, man. Like
much to like.
We got all three facets today. And you have to just enjoy it because it ain't going to always happen that way because that's how baseball is and there's so many games. But from Stroman to the bullpen to just
the offense,
manufacturing runs and taking advantage of the Brewers' mistakes, oh my, don't let me fall in love with this team. Don't let me fall in love yet.
No, you should, even if you get your heart broken, because there is finally a team that could make this summer interesting.
Fair.
On paper, it looks like a team. Even if things had gone poorly today, I would tell you, on paper, it looks like a team that could at least make things fun this summer.
Yeah. The only reason I say it is because, last season, I know the expectations were significantly lower last season, but they had a game like this on opening day last season, and, for maybe a few days, I was like, maybe they actually will be something. And so, I give me a few weeks. Don't let me do it yet. Get the squirt bottle out and spray me or something if I say something crazy.
Well, we had an awesome pregame party, and we'll get to that later in the show. Thanks to everybody that came out to Country Club. Great time. Niren's in the chat. He was there. Go ahead and crack the Victory Goose.
Oh, yes. You got to put it in the beer bat, too.
There it is, Victory Goose. You're going to put it in the beer bat?
Hell yeah.
Oh, this is the full opening day combo.
Yeah.
The Cubs looked spectacular in this. We do want to point out, by the way, that not only do we have a great pregame party, but we expect a great chat this year, just like we had last year, because during the misery, we all were hanging together, and now hopefully in better times, we're going to feel good together. Look at this. It actually looks like a bat when you fill it up with the beautiful 312. From Goose Island. Now that is a thing of glory.
I don't know if I'm doing the pour correctly as some
Probably
might,
not.
But,
there's a lot of head
we're
to
live
that.
on YouTube right now.
That's amazing. Right. I had no idea what that was. That is so cool.
They're selling these at Wrigley Field. Shout out to my guy, Matt Menace, M-Bone HD. He went to spring training this year and then came to Chicago, and I told him to bring me one, and he did.
Cubs beat Corbin Burns again. You realize that's 4 straight wins over Mr. Burns?
I know.
They've got his number. Dare I say, even with different players, they've got his number.
And I think the thing that I love about it the most is that when they scored those first couple runs, what happened? Nico to the right side, Swanson to the right side, taking the ball to the other direction. And when players do that, they're just trying to put the ball in play and make something happen. And as we've talked about the previous core and players from that era, there were so many times where strikeouts would happen in those moments or just pulling it into the shift, all these types of things. I know the shift is gone now, but it was just they did a lot of the little things right today. And, again, they took advantage of the Brewers' mistakes. It was just exciting, man. It was exciting to have baseball back. It was exciting to see the Cubs, just play good baseball, clean baseball, like Corey said on the pregame, and I think he said it a few times in the last few shows that he's been on. It's just they didn't hurt themselves today.
No.
And like they did a ton of that.
A couple times Mineki's pointing out Jan Gomes, but let's not talk about the negative stuff, because we're going to have all season to talk about negative stuff. There's going to be nights where Cody's ready to jump off the roof here, but let's not do it today. Let's enjoy an opening day win over the Brewers. The Cubs are in first place. They're undefeated. Cody's chugging from a bat. It's 3-1-2s. And by the way, we got new dope merch that arrived, it's out there for the start of the season. We put this out just yesterday. It came out. The news came to us. It was a surprise to us as well. The 2 new shirts, the CHGO Ivy that has the 3-1-2 on it and beautiful historic on the back. And then there's also the beautiful and historic little CHGO logo, all in the marquee form. That's the other one. And by the way, if you're not a diehard, this is the time to do it, because if you sign up to be a diehard, you get to pick one free shirt from the locker. It could be one of those too.
Yeah.
So not only do you get the membership and the discounts and all the things that come with that are great about being a CHGO diehard, and no team in professional sports anywhere has more diehard fans than the Chicago Cubs. So that's the way it goes. Now, we've had some great super chats. We had a $162 super chat
at the pregame show.
At the pregame show from Gerard when we predicted 162 wins. The Duke 811 with the first postgame super chat, $99.99. Earl Scheib will paint any car, any color for $99.95.
I'm in love with the team. Stroman is going to have a career year. Who needs Baez and Rizzo when you got Dansby and Hosmer? Let's not be ridiculous, though. We aren't going 162-0. It'll be 173-0 if you include the postseason sweep.
That's right,
That's
Duke.
the energy, brother. That's the energy.
It,
Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And keep that energy. Keep that energy. That's what I love to see. We got 173 people in the chat also at the same time as I read that. So exciting stuff. I'm
Duke,
so
we
happy.
salute.
Salute to you.
We salute to the Duke. Wow. $99.99 right out of the gate. That's the way to. First, we get the shutout against the Brewers. Then we get, that includes Stroman and Dansby being spectacular. After the great pregame party, now we get the postgame show, and it's off and flying $99.99. I don't know if I have to do 99 straight shows for the Duke, but I have to do a shout-out, of course, for Mike Dubbs because of his $50 one, and also Gerard. And there's Gerard.
Cubs
earliest opening day ever at Wrigley. How about, first of all, there were a lot of wins today.
Yeah.
Who was the big winner?
Maybe Luke Stuckmeyer is the biggest winner here.
This guy.
2 hours and 21 minutes.
Wow. Give me pitch clock.
All I can say to anyone who's still against the pitch clock is that we got a great game. I feel like if you were at the game today, you're probably leaving really satisfied, not only because the Cubs won, but you saw a lot of stuff.
Frozen but satisfied.
Yeah, you might be a little cold. But again, like the pitch clock, the idea of the pitch clock is faster pace of play and just more action.
Yes,
and we saw a lot of that today.
Yep.
And I was already pro pitch clock. I hope that
now I'm all in.
I don't want to see like 2-hour games because I feel like unless it's like a pitcher's duel and that makes sense.
I do. It's rejuvenated me. It's just completely rejuvenated me. I feel 30 again.
The pitch clock, there's certain things about it that I'm like, but whatever. The pace of play was great today. And, whenever you are at a bar sometime and there's a trivia question, who was the first ever player charged with the pitch clock violation? You can say Marcus Stroman.
Yep. First one in baseball history.
First one ever.
Major League history. Dustin Allen, super chat, $9.99. Chug, 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 chug.
There's too much foam to like chug that right now.
It wasn't the smoothest of pours.
It wasn't the best pour.
But it's going down smooth.
You'll get better at it.
Yeah. So this is going to be a thing all year. Hopefully I do this 162 times, guys.
He didn't. He just chugged, Dustin. He just gave it a chug.
I wasn't ignoring.
He's going to have a lot of air because he poured it with a lot of foam.
All I can say is that I'm not the best at chugging, so that's why I haven't.
Herb Lawrence is the chug master.
I am no Herb Lawrence.
Did you see that video we compared the side-by-side of him running in the alley, the 40-yard dash, and chugging a beer? Impressive. Really, so many people were impressive in this game, and so many parts of the game were impressive. Great start to celebrating Pat Hughes to begin the season, the Hall of Fame season of Pat Hughes. we put pressure on Stroman. And I said in the pregame, I said, listen, this guy hasn't had a winning season in a long time. Wins are, I get an outdated stat. He hasn't had a season where he's had double-digit wins in a while. And I said, this guy is supposed to be our ace. We're giving him the ball. He's jacked up. And I saw somebody in the chat saying already that Ross says he's got a little bit of arrogance. He got a little swagger to him, and that he likes that. He was everything you wanted in a starter today. Maybe it was the tighter pants that I pointed out. I don't know when he changed that, but last year it was all the way to the heels and it was a baggier pant. Today it was like he was wearing tights out there.
Yeah, compression pants or
something like that.
Some leggings.
Whatever. He better wear them again next time too, because that was a heck of an outing. Not only was the sanker sankin', as he likes to say,
right,
but great play over at first base where he bare hands the ball out of the air. Mm-hmm. Your guy Christian Yelich was kind enough not to run him over.
Big of him.
That was a nice.
Yeah.
We don't need to lose Stroman on opening day.
No, that would have been awful. However, this postgame would have been a lot different. But no, I mean, he had it going from the start. He struck out the side in the first inning. He had a great defensive play as well. I think in the second inning, where on a comebacker that led to a nice out, and you could see the athleticism that he has. Hosmer saved him on that pop up, but other than that, man, he was great today for your opening day starter. And I'll say that, like you said, we're holding him to a high standard. He pitched better than what I was expecting today. He completely outdueled Corbin Burns.
Well, the crazy part is that, I turned on the radio going from Country Club to coming back, and it was still the end of the pregame show on the Score, and they were pointing out that the wind was actually howling out to the left field corner. And I also caught a little bit of Marquis and Rick Sutcliffe saying now he's got to look at those flags before the game, and Stroman's got to think to himself, okay, it's at least going to be a 4-run game. Mm-hmm. There's at least going to be 4 runs on the board. Don't get down on myself, but it's keeping it within that 4-run range. And not only did they do that, the Cubs shut him out. Like, the bullpen looked great. The guys that came in were good. We'll talk about that in a bit. But really, Stroman, not only the sinker was good, his location was good. There was great break on everything. Mm-hmm. He looked mid-season form. I want to see double-digit wins this year. I want to see a winning record this year. The ERA can be similar again. Hang around the 3s. I'm good with that. But I want to see a winning record. I want to see double-digit wins, and I want to see more games like this. And, in fact, really what I just want to see is him pitch like he did in the second half of the season. I don't know if it was that he just got healthy or he got more comfortable with the team or a combination of the both. But he was obviously much better in the second half of the season. He was really good in this. Marcus in the chat saying, but he's not an ace. He did pitch good today. Hopefully that continues all year. I'm not saying he's an ace because I don't know that he is an ace. That's what I've said. I think they have good pitchers, but I don't know that they have ace stuff. Now, that doesn't mean somebody can't develop into an ace. If he pitches like that on a fairly consistent basis, well, then he's an ace.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as we've talked about, the Cubs don't, coming into the year, they don't have an ace, but we don't know what Justin Steele is going to do on Saturday. We don't know what Jameson Taillon's tenure with the Cubs is going to be until we actually watch it play out. But Marcus Stroman has proved to be a very good starter over the years in his career. And yeah, for half a season with the Cubs, he was hurt, sick, and not good. And then second half, he was great. And he's starting off this season great. And I would probably say that maybe that experience in the World Baseball Classic probably helped him because he was pitching in high leverage in March and coming into this game like he's in mid-season form in a way you could say based off looking at what him playing in the World Baseball Classic. So again, I don't care about wins and losses in terms of pitching records like you do, Stuck. I just want him to get outs. Just get outs. Even 8 strikeouts is more than what you're accustomed from someone like him. Again, just get outs, give us quality innings. No, like I'm asking for 5 to 6 innings every start from him at the very least. And gave us 6 strong today, and you can't complain about it. There's a lot to like from Stroh today, and he's going to take that confidence into his next start. And, just hopefully Justin Steele, shows out like you did in his last spring training outing, and you just keep it rolling. Because, again, this team is going to be good based off starting pitching and bullpen and defense.
And I understand that wins and losses don't matter, and I don't put a ton of stuff into them. But when a guy gets double-digit wins, you at least know his team's been
winning games,
and he's been a part of that most likely. Like some of them aren't going to be his best starts, but some of them will be. He'll also take some losses where he kept his team in it. I understand that. But when you start to get up there, sooner or later, you can say, well, this guy has been a pretty good pitcher this season. It's not a totally worthless stat. It's just you need to factor in all the other Dell metrics, if you will, with them and use everything to decide whether or not a guy, including the eye test, whether a guy had a good season. He could have lost this game today, could have slipped away in the bullpen, and my eyes still would have told me that was a winning performance that he had. Anybody could have seen that today. The other thing you could obviously tell was Dansby Swanson was a $177 million player today.
I can't believe that we didn't talk about him first, considering you took him for who you got.
Well, I saved the best for last. That's coming up. Who you got's coming up, and that's going to be very debatable today. But you can't ask for a better debut out of the guy, other than hitting a home run in a walk-off fashion or something. What else could you ask for?
Just hitting a home run in general.
3 for 3, and he cracked it each of the 3 times, right? Like he hit the ball hard. He was smooth and slick in the field.
Yeah. It makes me excited because, one, a lot of people didn't want to give the Cubs more wins on the projection total because they're not believers in Dansby Swanson because it was one season. And here we go. First game of the year, 3 for 3, made some nice defensive plays as well. I mean, the guy wants to win. And it's exciting. I hope, I'm not going to expect 3 for 3 every day, obviously, but you're going to need your star players like him to perform more often than not if this Cubs team is going to be in the postseason. So, I love the Horner and Swanson back-to-back at the top of the lineup look. It worked. Nico had a good day today as well. Them two, Miles Mastrobuoni running out a potential double play, really led to
it was a key play.
It was a key play, and then Horner and Swanson back-to-back hits, and being able to score some runs in that inning was huge. I mean, it was the game, honestly. So
Swanson was Dansby was 3 for 4. That's my bad.
3 for 4. Sorry.
When he went 3 for 3, I'd already stopped. The game was over.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Thank you, Cody. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. So, Sarah, if we have a graphic of that would be my fault. 3 for 4. 3 hits, huh? How about that? First in an opening day Cubs debut, first 3-hit player. What was the stat on Marquise since Emilio Bonifacio?
What was your favorite part of
What could go wrong?
What was your favorite part of the Emilio Bonifacio era?
That was it right there, apparently. I don't even remember it, but like that was.
Me neither.
That was it.
When he was on the Cubs, it was first rebuild.
Not only did I love the 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it was, the super fast opening day, I also loved the other new rule, the bigger bases, because Dansby would have been out at first without another 4 inches of bases there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, him almost being picked off. Yeah. The Brewers challenged it, didn't work out. It was a bang play, could have gone either way, but I think it worked out in the Cubs' favor just because they called it safe originally. So.
Yes, agreed. Had it been the other way, it may have been close.
And it could have changed the game because the Cubs had some momentum at the time.
You know what else Dansby showed us today, and it's just a reminder that something that we've been saying for the last month, Cactus League a lot of times means nothing. Now, I hope it means everything for Hayden Wesneski.
Yeah.
But Dansby Swanson had like 3 hits the entire spring in Cactus League play, and he comes out and gets 3 on opening day, and they weren't just like fluke squibbers. He hit the ball hard.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I've said, all spring, where you just you can take some things that happen. Like obviously, Wesneski was great in the spring, and guys like Miles Mastrobuoni, and a handful of other dudes, like they earned their spot, and in a way, the spring means something for those guys. But when you look at these quote-unquote seasoned vets, guys who have proven that they're great or at least really good, like Dansby Swanson has over the course of his career, I ain't going to worry about what you're doing in the spring, bro. I'm just not. And maybe that is why I was just kind of like, I don't really care what Adrian Sampson did. And I still thought he should have, like, for most of spring, I thought he should have made the roster just because, like, what's it matter? Like, I'm going off what he did last season for the Cubs. It is what it is. And, you know, if we see him this year, which I'm sure we will, I feel pretty good about him. And as I'm sure most people do, because, again, the spring doesn't really matter. So it is a good point that you bring that up because it's just something that I've never taken full into. So.
Yeah, I mean, you just watch guys. Some guys are working on things. I remember Soriano had just a blistering spring once. Then his first month of the season was horrible. He got to the cold weather and it was like, no thanks, not part of it. I do like the energy, I guess I'd call it, of this team, and I don't know how much weight you can put into that going into a season. But there is a different energy. David Ross has talked about it a little bit as well. Maybe it's a lot of short contracts for the veteran guys trying to hang on to their careers, turn them around, whatever it might be, along with the energy of young players, and kind of that they all feel that this is moving in the right direction as opposed to heading into a season knowing that a lot of guys are going to get traded away for sure. But it's not just that. It's what Stroman was showing you on opening day. It's the same swagger that Ross was talking about from Stroman. When things are going well and he's kind of got that swagger and he's clapping at the fans coming off the mound, there's a little attitude with it. It's the same attitude you get with Wesneski when he just kind of starts walking off. He's throwing the pitch and he knows the guy's going to miss it and he's kind of floating off the mound as if, good luck, you're going to hit that.
Yeah.
You know? It's the same thing like when Keegan Thompson, the mayor, came out and plunked McCutchen last year in this series against the Brewers and just kind of blew a bubble, right? And was like, whatever. By the way, the bullpen, you're never in fear of it, but they were good.
Yeah.
They were good. Fulmer was good. Boxberger was good.
And bigger news, Keegan Thompson's velocity is back. I think he touched
the mayor
95.
was the mayor.
He was the mayor. Keegan Thompson
in a
for
runoff.
Chicago mayor. This guy.
Sean says you mean
so
the vibe
excited.
of the team, Luke. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I
didn't want to overuse the vibe.
For Keegan Thompson in this bullpen role, man. Like, he was so good in it last year. And it, you know, the bullpen is very, it's you know, you don't know who's going to close the games out. Looks like Fulmer got the first shot, and he was fine at it. He was good. 1, 2, 3 inning, right? And Boxberger, you know, solid and again,
one hit in the bullpen gave up one hit.
One hit, okay. Who gave up the hit? Was it Thompson?
It was Fulmer, but they also had
Fulmer?
They also had 4 strikeouts. Keegan had 1, Boxberger had 1, and Fulmer had 2 strikeouts.
It was 4-0, and we were preparing for the show. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we started.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good.
That's
story.
right. They're just numbers.
But yeah, no, Thompson. For the few batters we got to watch Thompson, I was pretty excited, mainly just because the velocity was there. Again, a week ago we were like, oh man, he might get option. Like, his velocity is down to 90, 91, and he really excels whenever, you know, he's hitting, you know, mid-90s. And so you saw that hit today, and you're like, okay, he's back. He's here.
Yeah.
He's ready to go. And you know, credit to the Cubs for knowing that he was going to be fine. I will give them all the credit for that. So
right, Sean is right. It should have been caught by Happ.
That one.
It was a hit, but it really
he like overplayed it or something like that. Yeah,
and then he had his foot stuck. I mean, how many likes do we have? We up to 70 yet?
We're at 70.
We got likes. We got a thumbs down. Has Craig Counsell voted against us yet?
I'm assuming it's Craig Counsell.
It could be Yelich.
Could have been Yelich.
Could have been Yelich.
Maybe it's the few Brewers fans that somehow found the stream.
Niren's got the Cubby Kool-Aid flowing. What if Mervis is a dude by mid-May, or Seiya takes it but up a notch, and that'll get my juices going? Yeah, that's what we're saying. Yeah. There are Collada. We don't stinks. I mean, that's as positive as you can get from the Godfather of CHGO right there.
226 people in the chat to see that Michael Collada, the Godfather, is being positive.
For those of you that might be joining for your first ever CHGO Cubs postgame show, Michael Collada is here all the time.
He's the Godfather.
He's an older fella like myself, and sometimes he gets a little cranky. He loves to promote that Ricketts is cheap. That's his favorite thing to say on our podcast.
Yeah.
He keeps us in check. Cody goes one way, Collada goes the other way. I'm usually down the middle.
Yeah.
But Collada in the chat has been very positive the last 2 days.
One, because we asked, and two, because I think the Cubs actually, today at least.
What could you not like about today?
Yeah, right.
Were there a few misplays? Yes, it was opening. Jan Gomes was.
But his framing was great though, because you know how many balls we watched get called strikes.
So that's a question about Stroman that I had watching the game, and I saw somebody in the chat mention it too. How much credit for pitch framing do you give Gomes on all these calls, and how much credit do you give to an umpire that was
awful,
very generous?
Very generous.
He had one where we were mad that it turned into a walk. Like, how can you? It clipped the edge of the box, right? It's just a little bit of the strike zone he caught, and it turned into a walk. And we thought, well, oh, come on, you've been calling that all game. But in reality, in general, he had a nice wide strike zone, which also added to the 2-hour and 21-minute game, which I'm okay with. And he was bad, but he was consistently bad on that strike zone. Like, it was a wider strike zone pretty much steadily throughout the game.
Yeah, he was consistently bad. If you really watched it, especially in the early innings, because there were some of those strike calls that I was like, this isn't even like borderline. This is like 2-3 inches off the plate.
So do you give Gomes the credit? Because Gary Ross is saying Wilson Contreras wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't know. We'll see.
I need a catching specialist to come in here and tell me who we should give credit to, because I want to give Gomes the credit, but I don't want to take any credit away from Marcus Stroman because he did his job. But at the same time, yeah, you got to have a good catcher back there that's going to be able to help you get as many strikes as you can. So I don't fucking know. But all I know is that Gomes, outside of the pass balls, he helped Stroh out a lot today. At the end of the day, I think we can at least agree to that.
Yeah, too many beer bats? Maybe. I don't know. Umpires like to stay warm, too, at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. Maybe he just wanted to move the game along.
Yeah,
maybe it's – by the way, maybe also the umpires are adjusting to this pitch clock, too. They've got to be ready with things moving along quickly, too. They've got a lot to think about.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, I mean – they had an entire spring to adjust to it as well, but I mean, whatever.
A lot of the outside pitches were balls on, pitch tracks or whatever they call it now. But as long as you keep calling it a strike, sooner or later it's up to, and I think Joe Girardi mentioned this during the game, then it's up to the veteran pitcher and the veteran catcher to realize that and keep going back to the well.
Yeah.
Greg Maddux was classic at that. He would see that he was getting that outside corner, and he would shove that pitch inch by inch by inch by inch, just seeing how much further is he going to let me get away with this. And a little bit of that was in play because I think the command was pretty good today also from Stroman as well.
P. Will supporter. Cody, are you worried with the back half of the lineup? It's lacking a lot. Okay, there is one thing I guess we can complain about, that the bottom of the lineup didn't really do much today.
Well,
But
you
want me to criticize it? I mean,
now how can you ask us to be positive about P. Will, but not about Game 1 today?
Yeah,
let's all be happy today.
I can't expect every single guy. I can't expect every single player to get a hit every day.
But I understand, P. Will. I'm not telling you how to cub.
I hear what you're saying. You can cub however you want to cub, like we always say. If they're, like I said, when it came to like position players today, I felt like most of everyone had decent at bats, but at the bottom of the lineup, sure, maybe, Wisdom wasn't very encouraging today. I thought Mastroboni at least was able to put the ball in play fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's cold at Wrigley Field. This is April baseball. It's all about being able to just get runs however you can. I can complain about the Cubs lineup. I'm sure if they're, Brewers fans aren't exactly happy with what went on with their offense today. I mean, the Cubs did what they had to do to win today. They did well in almost every facet of how to win a baseball game today. So,
Stroman set the tone. He struck out the side in the first inning. He was great. By the way, the Cubs are undefeated on opening day in the history of CHGO.
They are 2-0.
That's one thing. They've never lost on opening day when we've been around.
Never.
The Cubs are undefeated forever since I started petting the Cubby Bear. I pet the Cubby Bear.
That's in the video.
The video that we did this week. Yeah, we're undefeated
today.
since that happened. Somebody asked in the chat, what does everybody think of the pitch clock? I'm curious. Is there somebody out there watching? Danny Rocket, I know, is not a huge fan. Is there somebody out there watching that didn't like the way the pitch clock played today? I saw the first game, the Yankees game was also like 2 hours something. The Braves game was like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody that didn't like how quickly the game moved?
It's hard to complain about it whenever you got such a great product. Whether you're a Cubs fan or not, if you're a baseball fan and you watched that game, you probably enjoyed it. Because it was just going. There was no dead time. You know what I mean?
I just don't see the negative to it. I guess, do I need to see a guy fixing his batting gloves every time in between pitches? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Ravi says he pretends the pitch clock doesn't exist. Good to see Ravi in the chat again. Will Collins, I was there. Pitch clock was noticeable, but good for the game. So even at the ballpark, well, yeah, you're freezing. Let's not stand out. I'd say if it was a beautiful 70-degree day, I'd say stretch this game out. Give me 3.5 hours. But on days like today, let's move it along, even on opening day. I do think it's interesting. You know, we talked on the pregame show about just what does opening day mean to you. I said it means hope to me, but I think a lot of people, if you have one, some people will say if I have one game to go to all season, it's opening day. To me, it's the only day in the month of April or May that I want to be at the ballpark in the stands. It's usually a little too cold for me. And that's an age thing. I understand. Like, I've done the put on the parka, go sit in the bleachers and hang out there, and we got good tickets. You'll do it this weekend. But after a while, that's not as fun. And so with the game speeding up, beer vendors might hate it. You're right, Steven. That the only people that wouldn't like it, beer vendors and Nomar, because Nomar would never be ready for a pitch.
Yeah. I think at Wrigley Field, at least, you can get beer until after the 8th inning. I don't know. Last year, that's how they had it. I don't know if they changed the rule this year, but whatever. Yeah, the process of getting a beer, people who are doing that might be annoying. Like, my plan when I go to the game on Saturday is that I'll probably just get 2 beers to start. Like, that
3-1-2s.
Yeah, 3-1-2s, obviously. And that way, when I'm done with the first one, I don't have to get up and go get another one, and I don't miss the game. So, to me, I guess my advice would be to just get 2. That way, by the time you do need to get another one, you at least probably are in the middle of the game.
Yeah, go get
Unless
that small
chugging them, which
Ooh.
is not something that I recommend to be doing. But depends on what you're trying to do.
Small Cheval burger would have made this day perfect.
Oh,
or a do-right donut also would have made the day perfect. I did have Demo slice, though.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I had the
the macaroni,
the mac and cheese slice of pizza. The thing that made it good was the crispiness of the crust. Mm-hmm. But I digress.
I believe that was part of the
review on it.
No, remember we did the bracket last year?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was very good.
Yeah.
Have I had better slices of pizza? Yes, but I will say the way they heat it up was a nice crisp crust, yet still flaky. You know what else is perfect? Roman. Tell us about Roman, Cody. Tell us how it makes your life perfect, or somebody's life perfect.
Roman saved my life, man, because I had some issues, and when I started working here, I didn't know anything about Roman, and then they came here, and it changed my life.
It was like the sun coming out.
Yeah, it was like when you were talking about, when the clouds and stuff on the pregame show, the way you described it was...
The cloud. I described it as this. The clouds were lifting over the horizon, over the city of Chicago. The skyscrapers were still in clouds, and this soft, warm light started to rise up from the horizon. And I said, I have seen the light. I have seen the light. The Cubs are going to win today. And sure enough.
You have seen the light.
I've seen the light.
And that's how I felt when I started using Roman. I seen the light, guys. Up to 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. Do you want a better sex life? If so, you're not alone. But Roman is here to help. Roman is the digital health clinic for men, addressing a variety of sexual health needs and offering a genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain a strong erection. Roman offers discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed, and men with low T getting testosterone levels back to normal can help increase your libido.
Perfectly said.
Perfectly said. Roman offers a testosterone test, which includes lab testing, and if it's appropriate for you, treatment for low testosterone. No waiting rooms, no hassle, straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your home. Incredible stuff. That way you don't have to be embarrassed from your friends. If medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send it directly right to your door. Everything arrives in discreet packaging, like I said, with free 2-day shipping. To learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your entire first order. That is ro.co/CHGO. And I can't believe I've read that ad twice today.
That's 2 times. The third time, Miles Masterboni will read it, according to Gary. By the way, I had a lot of friends that were going to bars and stuff today to go see the game because they don't have Comcast cable anymore. They don't have anything, and the game was blacked out certain areas. Here's the answer for you. Fubo TV. 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Stream live TV from any device. I've got it right on this phone right here. I can watch the Cubs game wherever I'm going. You can watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. NBC Sports Chicago's on there. Marquee's on there. Start watching immediately with a free 7-day trial. Free 7-day trial. No contract, no cable, no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. Watch local teams while traveling. They've got the Frozen 4 coming up here, April 6th to 8th. Watch the Cubs on Marquee, so you can get Marquee and all their great stuff on Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Don't forget, CHGO, Fubo, teaming up to give you a great product. I love it. It's a great stream. You can go on there. You can stream all your stuff. You can stream Showtime. You can stream HBO Max. You can stream MLB Network. You can get the NFL package. All of it. Fubo TV, it's on there. It's good stuff. It's worth checking out. I would tell you that much for sure.
Yeah, someone in CHGO Cubs Twitter DMs, my DMs, they asked me about it. They said they were struggling to, I guess, figure out which one shows or like which package shows Marquee. I think there's a list. There should be a list.
It makes you go through a list when you first log in, like what channels do you want? And you literally just click, I want Marquee. I want ESPN2. I want this. It's a great system. I really have enjoyed it so far.
And you get a discount like I've said this to Colada multiple times.
Try it out for free first.
Yeah, you should try it out for free, and you're not going to give Ricketts your money, and then you get to watch the Cubs. I mean, what else are you looking for? 109 likes. We need more. 213 people in the chat.
213 in the chat. That's very nice. And by the time the Cubs are 10-0, we expect that to be tripled. But it's a great chat. It's been moving along. There's been some good comments on there. Not too much fighting. Not too many people calling names yet. So we had the pregame party, and we're thankful all of the diehards that RSVP'd and showed up. We gave away some free merch. We had the Goose Island deals. We had some food deals there. There was a good crowd. We had a good time. It was our first live remote show. We were on from 11 till 12 at Country Club on Clark, right across the street from Demo's. And like I said, there's Joey was running the 1s and 2s.
He was in
the window.
Shout out to Joey. He made the whole thing work out the way that it did. He's the people from behind the scenes. There's a lot going on into making a live remote work from a place that's filled with people on their phones. Yeah,
that's one thing. And it's not as easy as just showing up and sitting down and talking. So we're thankful we got to try it. We're thankful to the people at Goose Island and Country Club that hooked us up. Joey, great job. Jake, Kevin, everybody that helped. Sarah did a lot of work on it to get us going and get us out there. We had the $162 super chat from Gerard. We've had another great one so far today in this show, which was amazing. Thank you again. We have the new FOCO merch. If you're watching on YouTube, we hope you are. It's the best way to take in CHGO. It's these
right here.
CHGO YouTube page, but the Wesneski bobblehead. That's the type of stuff you can get at FOCO right now that you just can't go out and find anywhere else. They've got these great custom Cubs bobbleheads. Wesneski's going to be nasty this season. I'm calling him our potentially the National League Rookie of the Year. I don't know he's going to be the Cy Young, but I think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Both?
That's a pretty sweet bobblehead. We're going to have to get him to sign that. I know he's interested in some CHGO merch, by the way. And a guy like Justin Steele going against Woodruff on Saturday, another guy, friend of the show, came on the show in the preseason. So we've had a lot of fun in the last year. To think where we've come from opening day last year to opening day this year, it's like night and day.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes.
And it's mostly because of the people in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say the vibes are even higher this year because of there's just more people in our YouTube chat. New people and people who were in the YouTube chat last year.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the people been sticking around for the last year. I appreciate it. And, I'm excited about this team. I'm excited. And Colada said that I'm spot on today. So
oh, wow, look at that.
So people should just accept that we're going to be good. Thank you.
Ryan Herrera hopefully will be joining us before the end of the game. He's at Wrigley Field in the clubhouse, getting player interviews, listening to the David Ross press conference. As soon as he's done with his work there, he'll try to jump on, tell us what was said inside the Cubs clubhouse in his interviews with those players. Yep. I'm sure Dansby spoke, Stroman spoke, Ross spoke. Some of that I'm sure is also available on Marquee, but Ryan specifically will tell us about what he was talking to players about after the game. And that's why you want to sign up to be a diehard so that you don't miss any of Ryan's great articles throughout the season at allchgo.com. Some of them this season, we've taken more stuff out from behind the paywall, right? And that's part of the process. We want to share more than we did last year, and we're going to do that. But there's still some pieces that will go behind the paywall, so you don't want to miss out on anything, and being a diehard is one of the great ways. And then you get the discounts on the merch and the events, and you get the free shirt when you sign up. So make sure you check out allchgo.com and sign up with us. We want vibe with us is what we like to say. So other than
what have we not touched about the game?
Well, who you got? We're going to get to who you got, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dansby was a lot. Here's the thing with Dansby. It's not easy to do that in your first of all. It's never easy to get 3 hits in a major league game, but he's under pressure. Mm-hmm. He got a $177 million contract, and it just feels, from his press conference through spring training to now, it feels like so far that doesn't even bother him. Now, it's easier said than done because even John Lester, when he signed here, said, yeah, early on I was trying to live up to the contract, and it was not easy. It doesn't appear to be difficult for Dansby Swanson. Maybe it's different for different guys. Yeah. Now, you go through struggles, that's when you're really tested for that. But in one day, he came out and played the game the way the Cubs want their guys to play it. Mm-hmm. A little bit on the edge, almost picked off first, but a little bit on the edge, hit the ball hard, clean baseball in the field. The double play that they turned early in the game was beautiful.
The big one that they needed when the big one had 2 guys on?
Yeah, Stroman really needed. In the 3rd inning, they had bases loaded, 1 out, and that's when the defense had let them down. There was the throwing error from Nico that went over the head. Then there was the pass ball on Gomes. So with 1 out, they had the bases loaded. Stroman gets the double play, and it was a thing of beauty. And that probably, if you had to pick a play of the game, that was probably the play of the game.
Yeah, and it was like I jumped up and was excited, and it was a level of excitement as if the Cubs had just won a playoff game or something. And the only reason I was really excited was A, they got out of the inning, and B, we got to see Horner to Swanson to Hosmer for the first time.
Yeah.
Mainly Horner to Swanson, but you get what I'm saying. Hosmer did have a really nice pick though in the late innings.
I thought Hosmer. I was told he couldn't play first base. The metrics tell me he's no good at first base.
It was the ninth
anymore.
inning, right? Because Fulmer, it was a
a
comebacker off.
filthy pick at first base.
Yeah. So back to Swanson. I wanted to read a tweet from Ryan. Actually, he tweeted earlier during the game that Swanson had 45 3-hit games with the Braves for his career, and this is his first one with the Cubs now. So he was with the Braves for a pretty long time to get his first 3-hit game with the Cubs in the very first game. That's pretty wild. So, yeah, man. I mean, Swanson talked about when they did the introductory press conference and all that, talked about how the Cubs, really convinced him into coming, mainly because they said that they think they can make him better than he already is. And that's something that the Cubs genuinely have to really prove, at least from the offense, because we've talked about a lot about previous hitting coaches and how they switch hitting coaches. It feels like every year and stuff like that. You can kind of at least feel confident in the Cubs in terms of pitching now, because we've seen it the last couple years. But from the offense, if Swanson really takes off, with the Cubs, not necessarily to make people forget that he ever played with the Braves, but if he just has a very, very solid career with the Cubs, then maybe that they know something. Dustin Kelly from the Dodgers, we're hoping he can help fix Bellinger. Bellinger didn't get a hit today, but he did work a walk in the late innings, which I thought was impressive, at least considering how he worked it. But again, there's a lot of pressure in a way on Dustin Kelly to get the best out of this offense.
Yes.
And if he can help Swanson become a better hitter than what he was last year, that's big for this team, because he was a 6'4" player last year. You know what I mean? My expectations for Swanson are just to be what he was last year. If he can be better than that, I mean, don't yell at me about it. Predicting 88 wins when we get to the end of the year.
And P. Will supporters saying, sorry, that's not pressure playing for the Cubs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying playing for the Cubs is more pressure than playing for the Braves. That's his hometown team, and he was in a World Series. I'm not saying he hasn't faced pressure before. I'm saying he's never faced the pressure of a $177 million contract hanging over his head. It's a different type of pressure. It's just what I was saying, that John Lester said, sometimes the big money contract forces you to push yourself in ways that aren't necessarily good for your game.
Yeah.
And it's just a natural thing to do. When somebody pays you an amount of money like that will change multi-generations of your family, a type of $177 million, everybody in this chat together couldn't come up with 170. That's just my guess. I don't know who's in the chat, but I'm just guessing that if we all put everything we all had together into one pile of cash, we wouldn't come up with anything close to $177 million. Yeah. So when someone gives you that money to go play baseball in a city that's, again, passionate about baseball, there can be pressure that comes with that. And so I just like the way I've seen him deal with that since day one. From the things he said when he walked in to the way he played at spring training to the first game. Is every game going to go like this? No. But he doesn't seem like the type of guy. He said he hates losing, but I'm not sure he will carry the money part and the pressure part as much as some other guys have.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't.
Right.
It's not his fault.
No.
He was worth 177. Somebody gave him 177.
That was what he was worth on the market.
That's right.
Unrelated, I just want to point out, there's been some slander on Yan Gomes just because of pass balls and his inability to get hits today. But the Cardinals currently are losing 5-3 to the Blue Jays at home. Toronto's got 10 hits. I'm just saying. Miles Michaelis started for the Cardinals today, and we all know who the catcher is. So,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And Wainwright sang the national anthem.
Oh, good for him. He didn't pitch. Good for him, man. I'm just saying, I thought defensively Gomes was solid. Yeah, he had a couple pass balls. It was the first game of the year. If it becomes a serious problem over the next couple months, then okay, raise my hand and say that we need to figure this out. But we just talked about how his pitch framing helped Marcus Stroman.
May have,
at least. Because
possibly.
We're not, Delmetrics doesn't measure framing and shit like that. It measures vibes and anything against the Cardinals. So
French Bulls TV says I can barely rack $177. Kevin Wells, $177 million. Who won? Who you got? That we're getting to that.
I love how he typed out super chat.
He did. Yeah, it's not $177 million super chat. We're not confused.
Kevin he is very interested in who you got. I don't necessarily blame him.
Listen, a lot of people have
been waiting for who you got all season.
The rules we will get to. We laid out some new rules in pregame for who you got, and we will wait for one Ryan Herrera after a thrilling 4-0 Cubs win, shutting out the Brewers. They are on their way to 162-0. They are 1-0, sitting in first place. And it was a great start by Stroman, a great game by Dansby. There were some nice defensive plays in the game. And like you said, situational hitting, lot to like. Bullpen was excellent. Tell you what else you're going to like. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. ComEd offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, public sector customers of all sizes across our territory. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. Learn more about network lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device, track your facility's energy usage, and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor-outdoor lighting. Network lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than before. Visit ComEd.com/poweringbiz right now to start saving money and energy. To start a project, contact them at 1-855-433-2700. For more information, email businessee@comed.com or publicsectoree@comed.com. So baseball season is here. Cubs are off to a solid start. Hopefully your fantasy team is too. Maybe you actually have one of those drafts that's a little bit later, or you just want to know what type of moves. Ryan Herrera is going to be here in a second. Ooh. But what you want to do is get hooked up with the latest fantasy baseball news from RotoWire, a pioneer of fantasy sports for more than 25 years. Cheat sheets, customer player rankings to fit all the leagues, rotisserie, points, 10 category, 30 category. They know all about WRC plus and barrel rate and sleepers and prospects and hard hit rate. They do lots of mock drafts, premium fantasy kits. They have the custom start, sit, add, drop, trade advice. Access to fantasy. They also have great access to betting articles, which I know Cody likes to partake in. Tip you off on, hey, what are your futures? What are some prop bets you might want to lay for the season? Who might be a good sleeper for Cy Young this year? Wes Nasty. Wes Nasty.
Jamison Tyone.
Tyone. He did it.
I did. $10 to win $810. Let's go.
And not just baseball, too. They have fantasy advice on everything from golf, soccer, NASCAR, XFL, and for a limited time, RotoWire offering a free 2-day trial to our listeners. Just go to rotowire.com/CHGO to register. No commitments. They're so confident that you're going to like their product and want to invest in that subscription plan. They don't ask for a credit card up front, so you're able to take a peek behind the paywall. Then when the trial's done, you decide if a RotoWire package is right for you. Did I hear Ryan Herrera? Is he there? Is he up?
Ryan Herrera is here.
You did hear me. You did hear
wow.
me.
How beautiful was that, Ryan? 221. Magical. 4-0 shutout, a win, and less than 3 hours.
I was blown away. There was times there where that 3-hour pace was still kind of was
first
there,
couple innings.
Yeah.
The boys came through. They got us out of here, 221. It's a good day. We were talking to Nico, actually, and I just kind of asked him about the pace of play, the pitch clock, and he mentioned how, it'd be like, I think it's just maybe like 3 hours and like 10 minutes after first pitch, right? He's like, this is a regular day. Like we'd be just getting, done with the game right now. And I'm like, hopefully back then, like, hopefully you'd be getting done at 3 hours, 10 minutes. Like that's a good day. But no, 2 hours, 21 minutes. Luke, that's the game we want. That's the game we need.
That is the game we all need. By the way, the players in the field have to want that too. I know it's a little more difficult for the batters to get used to. Everybody has to adjust a little bit. But a pitcher is going to get better defense behind him when they're not out there just, looking at butterflies and checking out people in the stands. When the pace is like that, it's easier to stay mentally involved in the game. It's got to be. I don't see why the players wouldn't like it too. We will get to who you got because it's a highly contested one because there were some great performances. Your guy Stroman was absolutely great. Hap was pretty good too. Hap got on base a lot. Dansby was great. Mancini had a hit. So we had a lot of people that were very productive today. What was the real buzz, though, after the game, whether it was David Ross or in the locker room?
Well, I know the one thing is everyone was kind of buzzing about Stroman's performance, not to, toot my own who you got picks horn. But, it was 6 innings. I think it was 90 pitches about in 6 innings. 8 strikeouts is the most he's had since last May, I want to say. So it was a pretty, it wasn't, I wouldn't say dominant because he did have the 3 hits, he did have the 3 walks, but it was a very efficient, solid performance. And even when he did get, in some trouble that 3rd inning, the double play that Nico and Dansby turned, well, that's Stroman, that ground ball to the right side by a slow base runner and Rowdy Tellez, that's kind of Stroman's game, and so he made the pitch he needed to get, or he made the pitch he needed to pitch to get the 2 outs when he needed it. And he did it. And, it's the first game of the season. But I think this goes a long way towards setting the tone, especially for that starting rotation. We know how much the rotation struggled last year, the first few months of the season. So it's only 1 of 162, but for Stroman to go out there and pitch the way he did and just turn in a really impressive, solid performance, that sets the tone for the rotation going up against a team that, maybe we don't project to win the division, but a lot of the projection systems do. It's a good win. And, everyone talking about Dansby's 3-hit game, Happer going out there and having, pretty much everyone had, I think everyone might have gotten on base at that hit today for the Cubs, if I'm not mistaken. And everyone pitched well. It was a good all-around game. The defense was great. You really couldn't have asked for a better first game of the season from, the team overall, all around. I think that was the buzz around the clubhouse. And when Rossi's talking, it's just everyone kind of chipped in. Everyone made plays, whether it was with the bat or in the outfield, in the infield. Everyone did what needed to be done. And, you see it 4-0 against the Milwaukee Brewers. That's a good first win.
Yeah, this Doug points out the Sanker sank today. It certainly did. We pointed out, Ryan, we felt like that double play in the 3rd inning that got him out of trouble may have been really kind of it was probably the play of the game to get them out of it because you didn't know if that was going to be, that's what happened a lot to Stroman last year. I felt like he would get through it once and then he'd get in that first jam and you'd think, this is going to throw off his whole game as it being going from a really good performance to just kind of a meh performance. And he got that double play, and it's something we've talked about all season. While the defense wasn't perfect, there was a pass ball, and Hap had an issue in left field. When they needed to suck up a ground ball and get a double play, they got him. And the Cubs offense, the other thing we talked about, maybe not enough power, a lot of singles today, but you're able to win a game like that today without the home run ball, without triples, without doubles, because defensively you were able to get outs when maybe a mediocre defensive team would not have turned the double play.
Well, yeah, and that's what we've talked about all spring, right? This is a team that's built on pitching and defense, and those 2 aspects of the game have to perform to make up for, some of the faults in the offense. This offense, even you look at Dansby, he was 3 for 4, but they were all, singles, right? No one hit a home run today. No. This team isn't built on power, isn't built on, the explosive offense that's going to blow teams out. So the defense and the pitching have to perform. And that's what happened today. Again, Stroman made the pitches he needed to make. He wasn't always on top of his game, but when it came down to it, he made the pitches he needed to make. And then the defense backed him up very well. I think Nico had an error maybe in the 1st inning, a throwing error. But that's, that was it. Everyone else played great defense. Dansby had that backhanded one in the hole at shortstop. It was good all around defense, and that's how the Cubs are going to compete. I know our predictions I think all of us were a little more positive on the Cubs than a lot of people on like Twitter care to think. But for them to win 83 plus games this year, like that defense and pitching are going to have to come in every single day and perform. So, again, one of 162, but to see what both aspects of the game, pitching and defense, the whole run prevention side of the ball, to see what it did today is encouraging. And, you hope that continues into throughout the season, but it was a good way to start off the year for sure.
We've kind of talked about Stro and Yan Gomes, on marquee that we
pitch tracks or whatever they call it.
Yeah, the pitch tracks. We can't figure out who do you give more credit to? Do you give more credit to Stro just because he had a great outing, or do you give more credit to Yan Gomes because there were obviously the strike zone was very big today for both teams, and I don't know how you don't just at least give Gomes some credit, but
how much of it was pitch framing?
Yeah, like how much of the pitch framing is really it really impacted that game. And I'm intrigued into your thoughts since you're there.
I mean, yeah, it's a little harder in my vantage point to see exactly where pitches are, but we have TVs, we could see some replays. There were some called strikes that looked pretty out of the zone. I think that you give credit to Gomes. One of the things, like with Wilson, right, before was framing, and he improved on that throughout his career, but that was always like a knock on him. Yan Gomes hasn't really had that, and I think that's another reason why pitchers like to pitch to Yan Gomes. Not to say they didn't like pitching to Wilson, but they like to pitch to Yan Gomes because he does some of those small things well. He frames well. The soft factors that you can't really quantify, he does well. So for sure, Yan Gomes deserves some credit. I mean, I don't know his pitch calling. Like I can't see the pitch calling from all the way up here, but the way pitchers talk about him, he calls a good game. So that all plays into it. And, of course it's up to Stroman to go out and execute. But if it's coming off Yan Gomes, his pitch calling, his what he's doing behind the plate, like that all factors in. And that's, again, part of this run prevention unit. And Gomes and Barnhart, they should both play a pretty sizable part in that run prevention unit. But for today, yeah, for sure, I'd say Gomes deserves credit for that because he's out there and working with Stroman, just and the rest of the pitchers, and obviously those guys threw pretty well today. So Gomes didn't have zero to do with that for sure.
No, the pitching was spectacular, and the umpire had reservations at Gibson's tonight. And he was like, strike, that's close enough. I'll take it, strike, I'm cold.
Hopefully, that only happens in the Cubs' favor moving forward.
Yes, yeah. Right. By the way, in the chat, as I mentioned, this is a very good chat today, as expected. Brian G says, Luke gets 3 points. Everyone who agrees, say aye. Thank you. I appreciate
No one
that.
said aye, though.
Aye.
No one except for Luke said aye, though.
That's
a
brilliant comment.
He was talking to the chat, Stuck. Come on. It is day one of who you got, and you're already trying to steal points. And, I know you're the commissioner, but we have to hold the commissioner accountable, Stuck.
As the commissioner, I feel like I should point out the new rules quickly for everyone that was not able to catch the pregame show because maybe they were at the ballpark or they were just running around or at work or school, whatever. So some of the new rules we're implementing this year are for who you got. Corey's going to be involved. Brendan can be involved. Anybody on our team can be involved if they want to. Mm-hmm. The key is you have to vote or make a pick in at least 50% of the who you got games that we play. So whenever we have a show, we do who you got. If you're part of 50 of those, 50%, and it's a win-loss record this year, so we're going to do win percentage will decide who wins it, not who won the most. So, and the other thing was the multi-points, because I had the great Esteban Quiros game last year, the three-pointer where I called my shot, and Esteban Quiros was the hero of the game. I got 3 points. We're allowing a player to select someone that might be a dark horse. And that can be a 2-point win if everybody agrees, yep, if Mark Leiter Jr. gets you 2 points today, if he wins, you get 2 points. However, if you make that selection and Mark Leiter is not the who you got winner of the game, then you take 2 losses on your record.
Yeah.
And it only goes up 2. We're not going to 5, right? Am I missing anything? Oh, the pitching rule. So Ryan had Stroman today. So if Stroman would have bombed and given up 6 runs, Ryan would have been banned from selecting another pitcher for 2 weeks.
Correct. Correct.
It would be a 2-week ban from being able.
Yeah, because vibes. You got to have positive vibes only.
So we had 4 selections today. I took Dansby Swanson. David Snyder says I win. That's the second person in the chat to say I win, by the way.
I think P. Will supporter also said that you win.
Ryan had Stroman, who was also very good. Hap, 2 walks and a hit.
Yep, and a run scored.
Dansby, run scored, first RBI for the Cubs this season, and 3 hits, and flashing the leather all over the place. Stroman did go with the tight pants and go 6 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts.
Do the tight pants factor into who you got?
And not shown on there was Corey taking Trey Mancini, who I believe had one hit.
He had 1 hit, yeah.
I personally believe that in reality this comes down to Stroman and Swanson. However, as commissioner, I am willing to award 3 W's because it was such a spectacular opening day. I'm willing to, if you guys agree, I'm willing to award 3 W's. Cody gets 1, I get 1, Ryan gets 1. So we're all 1-0. Mm-hmm. Corey would fall to 0-1, or we can let him be 0-0. We can eliminate his pick because we gave away 3 wins. Because this guy wasn't terrible. He had a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you think we should go with this? Because I'm also of the belief that I actually won.
I'm of the belief that I won.
Right, I knew you would.
So I'm in belief that Ian Happ had a good game, man. 2 walks.
He had a good game,
hit,
but his game was not as good as the other 2.
I agree.
No.
Yeah. No ties. People says no ties. But as
Stuck is offering all 3 of us to get a point, or it's just going to be one person, and I think it benefits all of us if we just all have a point.
Interesting, except for Corey.
Yes. But Corey wouldn't argue it. I'm going to go meet up with him after this.
I'm willing to give Corey the 0 selection since he wasn't shown on the board. I'm willing to give him a record of 0-0.
Fair?
I say we do it today just for opening day vibes.
That's what I think,
but
for vibes.
No more ties after today.
Yeah, because it's hashtag vibe with us. I mean, I think this would have been a real showdown, and potentially I would have had to send somebody to go take care of Ryan in the dugout. But, see, Brian G says I get all 3 points. I don't disagree with that, but we want to start the season hashtag vibe with us, and until the Cubs actually lose a game, I think it's all positive vibes. Even Collada's been positive today. We had $199 super chat. We've had $50 super chats. We had $162 super chat. Hap did have an error.
Chat today.
Dustin gave us a $10 super chat. Chug.
Yeah. Someone thinks that that I'm your son in the chat.
You're my son? All right.
Someone, who is it? Mike Grant Gramola. He said, does this Cody guy get paid, or he gets paid handsomely. Paid handsomely. You should see all the Jordans I use to buy with.
You think he pays for these Jordans with his other job?
I do watch dogs too.
He does watch dogs too.
Yep. Anyway,
little side gig he's got going. Yeah. Anyways, that's where we're gonna go.
Awesome.
We're all 3-0. Corey is 0-0 on the season. Brendan is 0-1 because he voted against me last year.
He also didn't even
Brendan's also 0-0.
We also just assume that he's always taking Nico.
We're 1-0. The Cubs are 1-0. Vibes are at an all-time high. Steele going
stock up
in game 2.
I'll be there Saturday.
On Saturday, you're going?
I'll be there Saturday, left field bleachers, probably going to Murphy's beforehand, probably send a few tweets out, let everyone know, hey, I'm here, or I'll be there, whatever, if you're not watching.
Corey and Brendan are going to pod on Sunday, right?
Yes, and tomorrow, I believe.
And tomorrow as well?
I think so. I don't know.
Corey and Brendan have an upcoming pod for you this weekend. Ryan's going to be at the ballpark. Don't forget, the dope merch was released today.
Ooh,
you can go out and sign up for it. The new sick dope merch, sick drip, if you will.
Dope.
New shirts. There they are on the screen if you're checking them out on YouTube. If you can't see it and you're just listening to a podcast, go to allchgo.com. Check out the locker. Beautiful and historic. The blue, cubby blue with the white writing in the form of the marquee. Great shirt. Then also the CHGO Ivy. That's the red bricks spelling out CHGO, the green ivy around it, 312 down the middle. Honk, honk. Thank you. And then, of course, the one I'm wearing is still available, too. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? And all other great merch. We got some great hoodies in there. P. Will supporter says Luke is probably Brendan's dad.
Yeah, someone also said me and Ryan look like we could be brothers. Which
Yep.
We have dark hair. So.
And you guys bicker like brothers sometimes.
Yeah. It wouldn't make a lot of sense considering his height is completely different than mine, but
you never know. Yeah. That happens. By the way, Ryan, you missed it. Cody did drink an entire beer bat of 312 to start the show.
There you go. Good for you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it on opening day.
This is how you manifest 162 wins in a 162 game season, all right? So whenever we win 162 games, Ryan, you have to credit to me.
That's right. Ryan's, you're going to have an article coming out in just a little bit, allchgo.com.
Yeah, we'll have an article coming out for sure. Opening
Sounds
day
good. Positive Colada signing off. That means the rest of us are going to sign off too. Thanks for joining the chat. A great group today. We had well over 200 people, almost the entire live show. Lots of thumbs up. 2 angry people gave us a thumbs down, but
assuming they're Brewers fans.
Vibe however you want to vibe. That was probably Craig Counsell and Christian Yelich. Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo.
Cubs win 4-0. They beat Corbin Burns for the 4th straight game. They're in first place. And this is the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. We will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Until then, fly the W. Vibe with us.